Good morning, everyone. Today's the third and final day of our conference. We're happy to have you. We hope you enjoyed last night's events, the gala dinner. It was something. It was something. Welcome back. Today we have a couple of speakers, lots of learning to do. We can start with Mr. Christian Zandonella, General Manager at the Ritz Carlton from the Kingdom of Bahrain, with his session titled Leadership and Dealing with Diversity. Please welcome him to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope the event didn't go too long yesterday. And I'm in charge to bring you back to life. So thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation. It's an honor to speak here today and tell you a little bit about what the Ritz Carlton is all about and how important diversity and inclusion is. And we're also going to make a difference. Can someone assist me with putting up the presentation? Thank you very much. That's our beautiful resort. Diversity for us is something we live every day, and it's part of our culture. And diversity is amongst our goals, not only our financial goals and our guest satisfaction goals, but diversity is a strategic priority for the Ritz Carlton. We define it in different ways, and diversity is what we say is a collective makeup of any group independently of their belief, independently of their background. And inclusion is what we take as making the mix work. So the inclusion is creating an environment where our ladies and gentlemen, our team members feel respected and valued, where they have the opportunities to achieve their individual aspirations. Some are in for a career, some are in for working and paying their studies. So everyone has different priorities. So basically, we define it as diversity is the mix, and inclusion is making the mix work. Inclusion, making sure that our team members, independently from the different backgrounds, feel valued and feel respected. So it takes a global mindset for us. Of course, as a hotel company, the foundation of our business is international. International in terms of workforce, but also international in terms of the guests that come to our property. And this is not for our property, of course. This is for value for, this means for many, many other hotels around the world. A global mindset is truly, truly important. It means the way of thinking allows you to see the world from multiple perspectives. My father was, I had a time in my life where I was always fighting against my father and his directions, or at least questioning his directions. And one day he sat me down and he said, he put a porcelain bottle in front of me, and it was clearly blue. And he said, what color is this bottle? And I said, blue. And he said, no, it's red. And I said, no, it's blue. He said, no, it's red. And he took the time to paint this bottle with two different colors. And then he turned the bottle around and he said, you see, from my perspective, it's red. And from yours, it's blue. So I never forgot that, very wise man. And it really changes. That's why I say the global mindset is important, because we need to make sure that whoever works with us has the ability to understand, and we're going to see later what are we doing as a company to facilitate that, to help that, but they're willing to understand a different point of view from different backgrounds. And of course, it helps us to compete in the global marketplace. I mean, for us, it's not only how do we treat each other or work amongst each other in a diverse workforce, but it's also how competitive are we in a company with a diverse workforce, and how is this setting us up for success in a truly global marketplace. And of course, what is important for us is the cross-cultural competence. That means that I understand how other cultures work, I understand how they feel, I understand what the priorities, and I also understand the protocol of different cultures. So this is something we spend a lot of time on as a company, both from an employee perspective as well as from a perspective of our guests. So Marriott, we're part of the Marriott organization. And Marriott and the Ritz Carlton have one of the most diverse workforces in the world. We have hotels in 70 countries around the world, and our workforce speaks more than 52 languages all around the world. So it's truly is one of the most diverse workforces on the globe. And we have different trainings in order to set this huge company up for success, in order to challenge that. For example, when we enter a new country with a property, years before that, for example, we are opening 4 hotels in Morocco, and we have all around the GCC, all our properties around the GCC, we have young leaders from Morocco that actually work in the different properties, and we're going to set them up. We're going to infuse them with the culture of the Ritz Carlton and hospitality, so that they can assist us in opening those property in Morocco in 2 years, 2-3 years from now. So at the Ritz Carlton Bahrain, we are truly a landmark for diversity. We have 51 nationalities and we speak 28 languages. So we are truly blessed with the diversity of our team. We also look at different ways of diversity. And when we talk about diversity, it's not your cultural background. Sometimes is the seniority you bring to the table. So mature employees, of course, they bring the job experience, and they can live and breathe the company history and culture. And the younger generation, of course, they're more tech savvy, and they relate more to social media and technology, and sometimes challenge the mature workforce on how to solve some issues and bring the necessary innovation to the table. But we believe only the mix is successful. We don't believe in one way or the other. We believe that in the mix, it truly makes it successful. So innovation for us as a company is truly important. So we spend a lot of time on innovation, and the more diverse the workforce, the more diverse the age groups, the more diverse the backgrounds, the more innovation. And sometimes it's incredible how our ladies and gentlemen, as we call them, come up with solution, something you would have never thought of based on their background. So it truly helps us to be innovative. So we say it takes a world of differences to make a difference in our world, in our hospitality world. It's truly the basis of why we're in business. We have different tools as a company. You can imagine, as a very large company, we have different tools, and we want to make sure that those tools are used throughout the organization in order for us to be successful. So there is a culture visit training. That means every culture in the world, and here we have an example of India, for example. Every culture in the world is represented in this online training, and what we do is an e-learning training based online, and our ladies and gentlemen can go in there, and based on the cultural background, they can choose the trainings and learn more about a country, about a region, about anything that makes this country up. So there is a lot of information in there, and actually our teams, whenever we have a state visit from a certain country, or whenever we have an international group that comes from a country we have not dealt with, then this is something we use in order to educate our ladies and gentlemen. We also have complementary language classes for our team members. So we have Rosetta Stone is a very reputable online training, actually a very expensive training. If you try to book it, or if you try to to do this training on your own is around $300 to $400, depending on the course you choose. So we offer that complimentary, and we offer pretty much every language that there is in the system for ladies and gentlemen to learn. So we have, of course, Arabic is the most used, and for our ladies and gentlemen that are not proficient in the English language, English, of course, but Arabic is also part of Rosetta Stone. So a lot of team members that do not come from the region, they have the ability to learn Arabic, and that is complementary. Then a business skills library, that means the protocol and how to deal with different entities, how to deal with different cultures, how to manage a diverse team, how to manage a team with different stakeholders. So business skills library is as well an online tool that that we give to our leaders as well as to our ladies and gentlemen to educate themselves. And there is a live training as well, which I mainly hold. Oops. Living our core values. This is an annual training, mandatory training, where we take different highlights from the company, and we make sure that all the ladies and gentlemen that go through this training once a year, and the topics can vary, and I personally give this training. So last year there is a JW Marriott Diversity Excellence Award. The Vienna Marriott Hotel got this award. It's given once a year for specific efforts. And of course, we are able with a diverse workforce also to get our share of awards at the Ritz Carlton Bahrain. So for us, the ingredients, just to sum it up, is to adopt a global mindset. Means what you see normally in a person, you know, if you think of an iceberg, or what you think to understand in a person is just the tip of the iceberg, but the majority, the 90% of the iceberg is underwater. And the same we adopt when we say adopt a global mindset and embrace differences. Then, so this is the first point is your attitude, the attitude towards diversity. The second one is really the training we give you, and the cross-cultural competence. And this is with the trainings we have, we spend a lot of time to make sure that those trainings are held. And the third one is when we go out, we always act as ambassadors. So for example, we take this very seriously. Next week we have Formula One coming to Bahrain, and we have a lot of guests from all over the world. So we see ourselves as ambassadors of Bahrain and want to make sure that the hospitality and the culture, in the short time these guests come to Bahrain, they truly get the best of the kingdom. So act as an ambassadors, understand local customs, and assist international guests with needs and expectations. So this is something we truly strive for. And those are the three pillars that we believe make us successful. So we have, if there is any questions, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning
To all of you, and thank you, Chris, for sharing your presentation with us. My question is twofold. What differentiate Ritz Carlton or the Marriott Group leadership style? So what differentiate your style in terms of leadership? And I have a second once you answer the first, if that's okay with you.
What defines the leadership style? Well, there's two different philosophies with Ritz Carlton and Marriott, but Ritz Carlton, the leadership style is very much inclusive. That means one of our motto basically when the company was founded, we're saying we're ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. That means we're taking the employee. Actually, when we talk about customers at the Ritz Carlton, we have internal customers and external customers. I expect, for example, Rasha is here from our HR team. I expect her to treat our internal guests when they go to the human resources department exactly the same way as we would treat the guest. I expect our ladies and gentlemen, when they go back of the house, when this door opens and you go back of the house and where the cleaning areas are or the kitchens are, we don't change our behavior. That means that we see each other as internal guests. So if I'm a server, or if I'm a cook, my customer is the server. And if I'm a server, my customer is the customer, right? So we don't make any difference for that. So that makes it easy.
Very good. I'm a loyal customer to the Ritz. My second is, again, we talked about what differentiates you. What are the lessons learned? I mean, you have transformed. Most of us who have used your services and know what has gone through the Ritz, the transformation you've gone through, what are the lessons learned? And what can you share with us? The very unique transformation or lessons that we can take home with us.
Here in Bahrain?
I think globally, you have transformed. I think the Ritz Carlton have transformed over the past 10 years. And the lessons that we take home from us, from leaders,
yes,
and people like you, yourself, are sharing, your sort of
yes,
companies and institutions, lessons learned. What are these unique? If there are 1, 2, or maximum 3, you say these are the lessons I'd like to share with you so you can take home and learn from the Ritz Carlton.
So the first lessons we have learned as a company is when we first started in the business, the way we were doing business was very prescripted. That means we were telling our team exactly what to say. For example, if we wouldn't use words like okay or great, okay, or that's fine. We would always say, oh, it's my pleasure. So that was very much prescripted. Right? So if you said, can you assist me where the restaurant is? And I said, please, this way. I said, thank you very much. And then we would say, it's my pleasure. So that was very much prescripted. So, and that was the need of the time in the 80s and starting in the 90s. We changed that completely, and also looking at where the hotels started to become more international and other cultures didn't feel comfortable with that prescription. And we suddenly had a workforce that, when you sometimes, I'm sure other businesses have SOPs and rules and regulations. We do have that too, but we learned that over time that different cultures were not able to be really themselves by adopting those rigid measurements. And over time we learned that, and we went away from that, and we leave them. We call them the 20 basics. You couldn't move from those 20 basics. Now we call them the 12 service values, and gives you much more freedom and much more empowerment to the people. And the second lesson, which I encourage all of you, and this is truly what makes us successful, is what we call empowerment. And whenever we have team members that join us, we tell them, when there is an issue, a service issue, when there is a complaint, you have $2,000 per person, per issue to solve it. So the first question is, can I take the $2,000 in cash? No. But the $2,000 never existed per employee, per issue. Those $2,000 never existed. What we want to tell them is that if the guest complains about a meal, or the guest complains about a coffee, or the guest complains about a room, and you need to upgrade them to the presidential suite, you have up to $2,000 to make that decision. So if you have to invite the guest for a coffee, if you have to invite the guest for a meal, it is within those $2,000. There's more a psychological barrier, but we truly empower our team.